Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is August 26, 2024, and Barcelona are currently in negotiations with WhiteBit in order to cover the payment that was not received for Barca Vision. Also, the club have contacted Jonathan Tah at Bayer Leverkusen, and finally, Girona are planning to make an offer for Eric Garcia. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and as I've reported before, I'm currently out of the country. This is why I'm bringing you this short live stream to keep you up to date on all the Barcelona news. This is not a podcast, so I won't be reading any of the comments out loud or answering any questions. Also, it's going to be pretty short, 8 to 10 minutes, just to bring you the latest news from our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Now, having said all that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All this helps this channel continue to grow. Now let's begin with the news, and this is going to be shocking news, so I hope you're sitting down for this. But believe it or not, La Liga have filed complaints against both Athletic Club de Bilbao and Valencia for insults or insulting chants that were hurled against Barcelona at both Mestalla and San Mamés. Now these chants were insults towards the Barcelona players. It was insults towards the club as an institution, and also insults against Catalonia itself, and it seems that La Liga have decided to file complaints against both Valencia and Athletic Club de Bilbao for these chants, these offensive chants that were chanted by their fans. And if once the investigation is concluded, and if La Liga finds both clubs culpable of this conduct, then they will either issue fines, monetary fines. They can also be sanctions as far as closing certain sections of their stadiums and not allowing any home fans at their stadiums. We'll see what comes out of this investigation, but definitely shocking. La Liga back in Barcelona. Who would have thought? Anyways, more news because Barcelona are reportedly negotiating with WhiteBit for the whole Barca Vision fiasco. As you might recall, WhiteBit, it's a sponsor that Barcelona signed, I think it was a couple of seasons ago. They now appear on the Barcelona jersey sleeve. That was part of the sponsorship deal. I think it was last season. Can't remember. I reported about this when the sponsorship was first signed. But now Barcelona are negotiating with them for a different thing, which is the Barca Vision deal. As you might recall, Barcelona sold a portion of Barca Vision to the German investment fund Libero. Libero failed to make payments. They only paid 40 million. They defaulted on the rest. 40 million were due in December. Another 60 million were due this summer. The 40 million that were defaulted back in December, Barcelona covered that by signing a deal with Aramark, which is the catering company, American catering company that caters the Spotify Camp Nou. And as you might also recall from my previous videos, Barcelona want to look to make a new deal for Barca Vision, but only with current sponsors. Barcelona want to work with people they trust, with people they know. So they're looking for current sponsors to cover those payments that Libero did not make. So now Barcelona began negotiations with WhiteBit to see whether they can, purchase part of Barca Vision to cover part of those payments that Libero did not make. Now, these are ongoing negotiations, so there's still nothing on paper, nothing set in stone. We don't know how much WhiteBit is going to cover, how much money they're going to pay, or even if they're going to want to. These are simple initial negotiations that the club have started with one of their main sponsors, which is WhiteBit, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's an exchange platform for cryptocurrencies. Now, more news because it's reported that Joao Cancelo is set to join the Saudi club Al Hilal. As you know, Joao Cancelo only wanted to come back to Barcelona. He was waiting for the club. However, Barcelona told him, we're only interested in you if it's a simple loan. They weren't looking to pay any loan fees. They weren't looking to sign him on the permanent transfer. They weren't looking to have any obligation or options to buy. They only wanted to play on a simple loan, and they wanted Cancelo to reduce his salary because he has an incredibly high salary that Barcelona simply cannot afford. So those were the terms of the club. Cancelo was initially waiting for Barcelona. He was willing to wait until the final moments, but now he's tired of waiting. He wants to figure out his future. The summer transfer market is set to close at the end of this week. So he wants to know where he's going to play next season because, of course, he is unhappy at Manchester City, where Pep Guardiola simply does not count on him. Now, initially, Cancelo was against any move to Saudi Arabia, but it seems like Al Hilal have convinced him because, well, when you put cash on the table, you pretty much convince anyone. But it seems like Al Hilal are willing to offer Manchester City around 25 million euros, which of course that satisfies the Premier League club because they're looking to get rid of Cancelo on a permanent transfer. They're not looking for any more loans. And it looks like Al Hilal have guaranteed Cancelo a 15 million euro salary net per season. So it looks like that has been enough to convince Cancelo. He will be headed to Saudi Arabia, which that officially closes the book on the Joao's fiasco with Joao Felix joining Chelsea and now Joao Cancelo set to join Al Hilal. So it looks like the two Portuguese players will not be back in Barcelona. And to that I say, thank God. Anyways, more news. Speaking of defenders, because Barcelona have reportedly contacted Jonathan Tah. Now, if you don't know who Jonathan Tah is, he's a 28-year-old center back who won the Bundesliga last season with Bayer Leverkusen. His contract is set to expire next summer in 2025 with the German club. However, he's not looking to renew. So what does that mean? It means that Bayer Leverkusen are willing to offload him, because if they don't offload him this summer, he would leave for free next summer and he wouldn't make any money off his transfer. Now, Bayer Leverkusen had received a pretty generous offer from Bayern Munich, which they rejected. We don't know the reasons. It's probably because they don't want to reinforce a direct rival, but it's reported that maybe for 20 million euros, they would let him go. Now, Barcelona have reportedly contacted the player. His agent is Bini Zahabi, which is the same agent for Robert Lewandowski, and even for the Barca Athletic left winger, which I can't remember his name right now. But it seems that Bini Zahabi was at the match against Atletico de Bilbao. He was sitting in the presidential balcony with John Laporta, and he might have done it there. Maybe he did it in a separate meeting, but it's reported that Bini Zahabi offered Jonathan Tah to Barcelona. Barcelona brought this up to Hansi Flick, and Hansi Flick thinks that it would be a good reinforcement. Now, you might say, why would we want another center back? Well, the reason is we have Araujo, who's injured for the first half of the season. Christensen just got injured as well. And Eric Garcia is not guaranteed that he would stay. So that would only leave us with two available center backs for the first half of the season, which are Pau Cubarsí and, of course, Íñigo Martinez. So Hansi Flick is not against this idea. He thinks it will be good reinforcement for the defensive line. And as such, Barcelona have initiated contact with Jonathan Tah to see if he'd be interested in joining Barcelona. Now, even if Eric Garcia does end up staying, it's reported that Hansi Flick sees him more as a defensive midfielder rather than a center back. So that, again, leaves us in the same predicament. With Araujo and Christensen injured, that means there's only two available center backs, which are Pau Cubarsí and Íñigo Martinez. And, of course, you need another one so he can rotate with them. And maybe Jonathan Tah could be one of them. Now, speaking of Eric Garcia, it's reported that Girona have not lost sight of the player. And, in fact, they are willing to make an offer during the final days of the market to sign him on a permanent transfer. Now, Girona are very, very happy with Eric Garcia. Both Mitchell and the president of Girona are very, very happy with him, with his stint last season where he spent there on loan. He was pretty much a fundamental piece of Mitchell's defensive line. They were considering bringing him back on loan again at the beginning of the summer, but then it looked like Flick asked for Eric Garcia to stay. And now Girona are getting more serious about Eric Garcia, and it's reported that they're willing to make an offer around 10 to 15 million euros for the Barcelona defender. Now, Eric Garcia is not fully closing the door on leaving because he doesn't see his future very clearly at Barcelona. You know, he would prefer to play as center back. It's reported that Flick likes him more as a defensive midfielder. Also, he hasn't been getting much playing time. You know, the last two matches, he only played, I think it was the last 10, 15 minutes. So he doesn't see his future very clearly at Barcelona. He's not too sure about what his role is going to look like, how many minutes he's going to get. So he's not fully closing the door to leaving. So if Girona do put money on the table, who knows, maybe Eric Garcia will accept that. For now, we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did do another live a few minutes ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Lots of news in there. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, cabars.